What's up, guys? Welcome to Operation B, the podcast. I am your host, Jamie Thurber, and I am here to take you on a journey of deepening, of expansion, of understanding more about who you are and why you're here and how to operate in an optimal way that allows you to do what you want to do, feel how you want to feel, take care of yourself truly, and support everything that your heart desires. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Operation B. I'm Jamie, your host. Thanks for being here. So today I want to jump right into a topic that I feel like I can't say enough about, and it's one of those that I feel like I shouldn't ever have had to talk about. That's the most annoying part about it, and it's accountability. So I think we live in a world where we should be able to be held accountable because everything is documented these days. But we see even at the highest levels of people who are famous or politics or billionaires or whoever it is, right? We see at the highest levels of our society people who are not held accountable for their actions, people who are able to justify terrible behavior. And it makes me go, oh my gosh, because then why would we expect regular humans to take accountability for their actions? Or to not realize that they're not, I think, is probably the bigger piece of the puzzle. The fact that people walk around all day justifying their shitty behavior and choosing to not be aware of their surroundings or choosing to not be aware of how their actions impact other people is mind-boggling to me. Now, I was raised very specifically to understand my actions matter. My actions do have an impact or a consequence. It wasn't until I was older that I realized that consequence could be good or bad. I always just looked at, like, I was always looking for there could be a bad consequence, so I acted accordingly, right? I think that's a healthy way of looking at things, but in my work especially, I am presented with so many different kinds of people, so many different situations, and oftentimes I am communicating with business owners that are trying to figure out how to manage their team members, and there's often this like flabbergasted space that we all sit in, where other people or like employees or whoever just genuinely are oblivious to other humans' realities outside of their own. And it's a very interesting thing because it seems like the people that are living in their own alternate universe are also ones that tend to get really, really butthurt and really, really upset when other people don't put them first. One of these instances I've been watching transpire for, gosh, it's been about 2 years now. And to the point where I've tried to figure out like what the trigger point was that shifted the situation. And in a lot of cases, when I run into this with clients and I am observant of what's going on, it's not my clients that are acting this way. It's my clients who are allowing people in their businesses to act this way, or people in their lives. But it also happens in my life too. It happens in Tony's business. It happens in family members. It happens everywhere. And what I realize is there tends to be this piece of what's the word? Like privilege, or like people they think they deserve such whatever. They get very entitled. There it is, friends. There's this sense of entitlement that comes into play, and I don't necessarily know where it comes from, but I can't help but see parallels in these situations where that entitlement is coming from a place of not wanting to face the reality that that individual is actually not doing the right thing. I think on some level they are very, very aware of the fact that they're not doing the right thing. So as a result, they've created this persona per se that allows them to but allows them to act as though they are like almost like a martyr kind of situation, right? And it's very fascinating to watch because it's like, holy fucking, like, how do you not see this? Like, wow. And so often it's like, let me die on this hill of martyrdom of all the things good that I've done for you, while all actually what they're doing it is hurting the person that they think owes them something. The person that they've convinced themselves that they're bending over backwards for. It's sad. And it's unfortunately in those instances, a lot of times that person is not going to take responsibility or acknowledge the part that they're playing in the situation until well after it's over. And that's the hard part for my clients and for myself in situations. And I know like my partner, and it's like knowing that being able, my partner in life, not in business, being able to have those conversations is scary. It also feels as though, like I said at the beginning, like we should not have to be having these conversations with grown adult humans, right? But it's a mind-boggling experience when you realize you have to remind adult grown humans that their actions affect other people. It's always been something that's been mind-boggling to me, especially since I started in the process of managing people 20 years ago almost, right? Like, which makes me feel really old, but it's true. Almost 20 years ago, I started managing people, and I feel like my mind has been blown ever since by the fact that so many people just genuinely walk around without recognition of their actions and consequences of their actions. So what led me to thinking about this was something that I wrote on social earlier this week. And I'm going to read you this quote. And it says, I no longer force things. What flows, flows. What crashes, crashes. I only have space and energy for things that are meant for me. Now, I feel like that quote could be interpreted in many different fashions, right? I feel like I've interpreted that quote in many different ways in different periods of my life. That's why I like quotes. That's why I like storytelling, because you never know what part of your story is going to mean what at what time. And so when I wrote that, and what I feel still feels pretty true through how the rest of the week has gone, is it talks to what I wanted to say about it, and I don't know that everybody will take it to this perspective, is there comes a time when you have to recognize the part you play in the things that drain you, in the leaks that you let stay in your boat, right? So when I say leaks in your boat, I mean things that suck your energy, things that make you feel shitty, things that aren't in alignment with what you truly want to be or who you truly want to show up as, things that don't provide what it is that you're really wanting. A lot of times, people that are in that headspace of not being held accountable for things or accepting accountability, they tend to look around and think it's everybody else's fault, right? And then they'll say, oh, I'm not playing the victim. It's like, no, you live in the victim, bro. Like, you live there. Like, legit. And it is this like almost phenomenon space where I'm like, that person genuinely does not understand. And the reason they don't understand is because nobody around them has held them accountable for their fucking actions. End of story. I've seen this, like I said, play out in so many instances, and it sucks because it's like the person, and I've done it too, like, don't get me wrong, I'm not perfect at this. I've let people get away with shit for years, and it's hurt me over and over and over again before I finally was like, no freaking more. So when I talk about this, it comes a time that you recognize the part you play in the things that drain you. I want you to look at it from two perspectives, because I don't know if you're the one that's draining other people's boats and that's not being held accountable and is over here thinking everything bad is happening to you and you're doing everything right and you're doing everything so hard, that's so hard, and you care so much, but actually you're being entitled and not being accountable for your own actions. Or are you the other person on the flip side that's letting people like that suck the fucking life out of you? So this story, this podcast, this message could hit people in two different ways. Because I need you to remember, either way, no matter what side of the fence you're on, it's your boat. It's your boat. Do you want to be somebody who walks around feeling like they need to be like hyper reactive and super easily triggered per se, because that easily triggered or hyper reactive reactionary behavior comes from the fact that you know you're not doing something properly. You know you're not holding up your end of the bargain. You know that you're doing something that's not ideal or does not hold to your quote unquote standards. But a lot of times I feel like people don't even know what their own damn standards are. They've adopted what they think is ideal or what they think is presentable to people around them, and they'll use the language that they're that thing, but they don't actually act like they're that thing. Something my coach pointed out to me the other day that I'm actually going to do with my team at Punchline, because I think this is wildly valuable, is how a lot of terms are relative. They're open for interpretation. So, like integrity might mean something drastically different to me than it does to you. Respect might look really different to me than it does to you. So that's a really beautiful thing to think about, especially if you're managing a team of people, or you're in a relationship that you feel like is having a hard time. You guys are having a hard time getting on the same page. That's a conversation that could be very, very valuable for you to have. And to get on the same page of what that phrasing or what that term means to you. Because you could have core values listed, but if you're not clear on what those core values mean to you, or like in a team setting, what that means collectively to the team, that when we say respect, we mean XYZ thing, then you can't expect them to always provide that for you, right? So when I started first working with my coach that I have now, it was in 2019, or it was like January of 2020. One of the first things we did in my apprenticeship was we did all of these tests to let me learn more about me. To the whole first quarter was me learning more about me so that I could operate from a place that made sense for me. So I got clear on what integrity meant to me. I got clear on what respect looked like for me. What did disrespect look like for me? Those kinds of things. So I welcome you to do that for yourself if you haven't, because people walk around with these very like profound statements they like to make, and they're not even aware of what in the hell that might actually really look like for them. Like I just glanced over while I was saying that, and when I did Date with Destiny, when was that? 2021, 22? I created my Date with Destiny poster virtually, and I have it on the back of my door in my office still. And I can see where it says, I am passionate. Think about that. Passionate means something different to every person. So that there itself is like, okay, what does passionate look like to me? I could have gone a layer deeper. And it probably did. The text is just really small because then you have all these values below it and what that means to you. And it's just, I can't read it from this seat. But, and my mic is not wireless or I would freaking walk you over there. But so regardless, the idea is that when we don't hold people accountable or we don't talk to them about things that they're doing that are affecting us, negatively especially, we're not doing anybody a favor. We're doing everyone involved a disservice by not holding people to a standard. Because what happens is it turns into a cancer oftentimes inside of a team. If we're talking business-wise, that allowance turns into cancer. And when that cancer happens, it affects everything eventually. It creeps in. It's like rust on a truck, right? Like right now on my Jeep Wrangler, there's rust happening on the bottom of my rear fender, and I am not, well, I guess it's a quarter panel. No, fender, quarter panel. I haven't been in the industry for long. My brain can't remember. Anyway, on the back. And so I'm like, crap, I'm going to have to, like this winter, I'm going to see if I can pay somebody to cut off the bottom of the Jeep all the way around and seal it and put rocker panels on so that I can stop that cancer before it infects my entire Jeep. Now, the reality is, once rust starts, unless you take all the paint off the car, you don't necessarily know exactly where it all is. Same thing happens when you let somebody get away with something over and over and over again and you don't hold them accountable to the standards of your team or of your business or what you believe to be the best for everyone involved. Because that cancer seeps into every nook and cranny, every little pocket if you don't watch it, and it manifests. And so that's why this conversation is so important when it comes to families, when it comes to business teams, when it comes to personal or intimate relationships. Like, it matters. So remember, I'm going to read you another piece of this. It's your boat. As tough as it is to hear, no one is coming along to patch your boat. That person who thinks they're acting in your best interest, and that person who gets wildly defensive about things, they are not worried about you. They're not even thinking about you at all. They're only thinking of themselves. That is just the reality. And I'm sorry. It's hard when we have to realize that for the first time, but it's just the truth. And even if they tried, it would be genuinely doing you a disservice if someone else came and tried to patch your boat. It's your boat. It's up to you to draw a line between what you'll allow and what you won't allow. And it's hard, and you have to do it all the time, every day, because the moment you let something slip through, it gains strength. It gets bigger. So at the end of the day, you have to take responsibility for the way that you handle situations. And that includes with other people and how they interact with you. Both the ones inside your head and the ones you experience in your outer world, they are your responsibility to manage and to be aware of how you're showing up. Are you the guy or the girl who's over here completely unaware of the fact that their selfish, shitty behavior is literally making the company harder to run? It's literally affecting the ability for those guys to turn wrenches, or the ability for that parts guy to focus and do what he needs to do, or the ability for the manager to run the company in the way that it needs to be ran. Are you taking responsibility for the way you handle a situation and how it then affects the ripple effect through the whole thing? Are you? Yes or no? Now here's the deal. If you don't want to take responsibility for that, cool. But own that shit. Don't be a you-know-what P word. Acknowledge and own it. Don't pretend like you're a team player. Don't pretend like you're being so mistreated. Just be quiet and go about your own damn business, right? Like, mind your own business. Don't bleed all over everyone around you just because you don't want to face the fact that you're not ready or willing to act as a team player in a situation. Maybe you don't know what that looks like. Maybe you don't know what that means, and that's okay. But you should start for the good of all that is holy, for the good of all humans in your life, for the good of yourself. You should start figuring out what that really means. What does accountability really look like? What does trust really mean? What does respect really mean? Are you those things truly, or are you pretending? Because that's the question. The reason I do this is because I don't want people to remain captive inside of a prison of their own making. I don't want people to continue to be tortured by themselves or other people in their immediate vicinity and do a loop-de-loop-de-loop-de-loop of reliving the same shit on a different day because you are unwilling to look at it. Because that's what leads to people's whole lives going by and them saying, how did that happen? Or that's what leads to people thinking everyone is against them. Because at the end of the day, no one's coming to save you but you. End of story, friends. End of story. So my wish for all would be that you learn what true self-awareness feels like. I've said this before and I'll say it forever. If I could give you a gift, it would be to understand what true self-awareness looks like. And it is a never-ending relationship that you create with yourself, but it is so rewarding. What it means to know with every fiber of your being that you're acting in pure integrity in every single interaction you take. Because holy shit, the freedom that comes from that, it's wild. The freedom from not having to worry about whether you said the right thing or didn't, because you give yourself the pause and the space to speak the way you need to, because you let yourself be vulnerable, because you are so clear and sure of who you are that you're able to say, you know what, hey, I need a minute because I'm not sure about that. Or ask questions, or go back and say, you know what, actually I shouldn't have said that. Let me reevaluate. Let me rephrase. Right? This message is for a lot of people, guys. As always, if you like this, please hit the like button wherever you're listening or watching. Let us know how you feel. Put a comment below if you have a question about this. Because what happens a lot of times when you ask questions or you send me messages is I will record a whole nother podcast about that thing to get deeper on it and help. So let me know. The way that you can support this show the best is if you're watching on YouTube, make sure that you hit the thumbs up and that you hit subscribe and notification if you haven't already. Please leave us a comment. If you're listening on any of the audio platforms, make sure that you give us a 5-star review. These are things that help the show continue to exist because it needs that reach so that it can keep happening. So I thank you so much for that. And if you tag us in anything on social media, we are happy to see it and we'll share it on our pages as well. And until then, friends, go out into the world and be good and have a great day. See ya. Thank you for listening to Operation B, the podcast. To support this message and to support the show, please make sure that you like, follow, and share the podcast wherever you enjoy listening. And be sure to leave us a review on iTunes. Thank you for being here and see you next time.